제 잼버도 닝미장 오늘 문음 잼버가 벼다 바그라던 잔도 셔물도 돈바드지 잔라기 정도는 저러 전이 정감서 저걸 듣기 전화이라 지금 번조 잡아 소라면 공기 똑반보로 신지로 공기 똑반보로 신지 공기 똑반보로 신지로
The unsurpassed, profound, and wonderful Dharma is difficult to encounter in billions of eons. I now see it, hear it, receive it, and uphold it, and avow to fathom the Tathagata's true meanings in order to liberate all sentient beings. Let us generate supreme bodhicitta.
Sanji dungur drala shomterlo, sanji muba tangwa la shomterlo, sanji ngunlag la shomterlo, sanji zimcher zibjir la shomterlo, sanji chuji sherb la shomterlo, sanji jedra la shomterlo, sanji sanke drala shomterlo, sanji khli drala shomterlo, sanji jikten ne la shomterlo, sanji wangshik la shomterlo, sanji tsehwar la shomterlo, sanji tsehwa la shomterlo, sanji wohomen la shomterlo, sanji gun tai la shomterlo, sanji gut togmen la shomterlo, sanji good Tamil love Shamturlo, Sanji good Barwa love Shamturlo, Sanji Barbi Wolla Shamturlo, Sanji Barbi Sava love Shamtur, Sanji Namtak Wolla Shamturlo, Sanji Raptak Gavi Wolla Shamturlo, Sanji Ishi Ragot La Sherb Golla Shamturlo, Sanji Gurjim Chapal Din Chala Shamturlo, Sanji Gopsam Kala Shamturlo, Sanji good of Judmil love Shamturlo, Sanji Nirdi good of Paglav Shamturlo, Sanji Sanzang Sir, Zumi Mdola Shamturlo, Sanji Rang of Tabala Shamturlo, Sanji Rumbo Jim Zola Shamturlo, Sanji Yang Homel love Shamturlo, Sanji Zermurki Rola Shamturlo, Sanji Hli Gerba Shamtur, Hli Gerva love Shamturlo, Sanji Gervi Stobla Shamturlo, Sanji Sankiran love Shamturlo, Sanji Tramadan Chari Wola Shamturlo. Sanji Farmchok love Shamturlo, Sanji Jahor love Shamturlo, Sanji Dorje Gerbo love Shamturlo, Sanji Meto Lama Lamen love Shamtur, Sanji Jigmer Topji Gerbo love Shamturlo, Sanji Hlerje Wangshik love Shamturlo, Sanji Sangek Zubjit Gerbo love Shamturlo, Sanji Wangshik Gerbo love Shamturlo, Sanji Gwachab love Shamturlo, Sanji Kund Sna love Shamturlo, Sanji Kund Hsan love Shamturlo, Sanji Putama Ra Zandan love Shamturlo, Putama Sanjir Puta Mara Vara Zandan love Shamturlo, Sanjir Put Zandan Gol love Shamturlo, Sanji Nori Jamson love Shamturlo, Sanji Womshok Rat Gavi Nyambo love Shamturlo, Sanji Sunji Chimbo Lana Mepa love Shamturlo, Sanji Nori Jamson Marme Gol love Shamturlo, Sanji Shiru Droma Sna love Shamturlo, Sanji Jamsu Huargut Nala Shamturlo, Sanji Durji Trapton love Shamturlo, Sanji Xirgut Kund Drama love Shamturlo, Sanji Sunji Chipson love Shamturlo, Sanji Huatar love Shamturlo, Sanji Tiji love Shamturlo, Sanji Tiji Stopji Gerbo love Shamturlo, Sanji Shamber Stopji Gerbo love Shamturlo, Sanji Zandan Ji Pu number of Cooper Gerbo love Shamturlo, Sanji Zang Sola Shamturlo, Sanji Lover Sala Shamturlo, Sanji number of Cooper Gerbo love Shamturlo, Sanji Sirki Rumbo Chek Dilla Shamturlo, Sanji Sirki Meton Barbi Goti, Samala Shamturlo, Sanji Junchin Gornala Shamturlo, Sanji Rumbo Chev, Labri, Tonga, Niet of Tabi Topti, Wanshi Gerbo love Shamturlo, Sanji Sirki Metok Gola Shamturlo, Sanji Namki Renchin Metok Gola Shamturlo, Sanji Benji are number top of copy Gerbola Shamturlo, Sanji Kund Mumber Tumbi Gola Shamturlo, Sanji Ishi Goodman Gerla Shamturlo, Sanji Diki Gerbor number Sakchupala Shamturlo, Sanji Gorno Stola Shamturlo, Sanji Shambi Shirb Gerala Shamturlo, Sanji Shambi Goxala Shamturlo, Sanji Jikten Tabi Gola Shamturlo, Sanji Gilwin Davi Rayala Shamturlo, Sanji Chogopzana Ishi Gerbola Shamturlo, Sanji Digrumbochi Gerbo Nebala Shamturlo, Sanji Hlir Gulana me Persola, Sovut Gerbola Shamturlo, Sanji Nirde Gola Shamturlo, Sanji Nirda Nori Gola Shamturlo, Sanji Ishi Vadam Chokdub Jambi Gerbola Shamturlo, Sanji Timin Zoji Gerbola Shamturlo, Sanji Gornam Samala Shamturlo, Sanji xserim barwi go nang la shomzerlo sanji xseri go nang bim zol la shomzerlo sanji sanke drish topki wangshik la shomzerlo sanji chogyang tambi gerbo la shomzerlo sanji wadan go tagla shomzerlo sanji jikten number tobi mi marme gerbo la shomzerlo sanji sherib gyana sherib ki namzi gerbo la shomzerlo sherib sanji chuji jamsan tambi gerbo la shomzerlo sanji rirb go la shomzerlo sanji metok sna metok samani golab shamzerlo sanji metok opali golab shamzerlo sanji stopchen tambi toblab shamzerlo sanji shiribki stopki gerbolab shamzerlo sanji raptag gawan chigmedi golab shamzerlo sanji namadwa sanji jaya khogmet gerbolab shamzerlo sanji lochu golab shamzerlo sanji seti gerbo golab shamzerlo sanji shiribki ri gerbo wanshi gerbolab shamzerlo sanji tarwa chimbu golab shamzerlo sanji chu tamchir tagda kangver gerbolab shamzerlo sanji lun marton lab shamzerlo debe sanji chura tamchir lab shamzerlo debe sanji chig sanji chu sanji bya sanji tong sanji chulab shang sanne kara changme pa khogdan me pin korane dugba bi muzba 탐치도 시험을 겨로 산지 범적 지금 범적 아니 범적 야 범적 주 범적 야 범적 동 범적 치 시와 적적 근거 longo 시만이 정매 바 호드메 비산지라 기버 시험설로 까테 강즈글 라레 산지 정매 바 호드메 밤산 돈에 때라 후카라 첩적 야치와드 셈자냐리 등으로도 물동때 때वे나 기브르 시험설로 덕가 산지 담빔 찬 때라 기비 시험설나 셈니 톱적 득바 득장 샹 먹게 쩌돔 참매nga 신춘 무시르 도므르니 담비 추는 딱더 투 탁천 쓰좀 담바테 대시르 따따 식경 사르 남바 니식 막독때 탁천 출라 모바다 록슈 촉수 따와고 강직 셈녀 남다나 록주지스 머시아테 산지 호메 딱덤 동 득비자와 비보돔 참매nga 제 강시바 남덕 셈기 뇨드니 나 데나 처르전 네바 옌나 대양 기베 시험스럽 시르 먹게지리 시험장 탁전스 좀 돕네는 데라 기베 시험스럽로 네버선 제남김 산 시합비체 시험집선 화동적 쥐머티베 출랍 조바 토보 냔투 제기 탁바침부 셈 시점티우 셈 시점티우 게르노가 동네 잡좀버 쥐보 하마 첩첩쥐 참 첩첩쥐 추기 첩첩쥐 추기 먹 넘버 딱바 토보
Well, initially I wanted to give teachings yesterday, but something came up and I didn't really have time to give the class. Usually I don't skip classes or giving classes, but I had some special arrangement yesterday, so I had to skip teaching yesterday's class. But tomorrow we'll also have a class. Initially wanted to make an announcement, but I forgot about it. Oh, right. The Sutra of Great Liberation, in fact, giving this teaching is a little bit different. Usually in the past, we would give the live broadcasting and people would study online at the same time. But now my website is closed and there's no live broadcasting. It is only a small number of people who can attend my classes in Shrine Hall over here in Larongar. Only our staff members, our volunteers, and a very small number of Sangha who's attending the classes over here in the Shrine Hall. So we don't have that many audience. We don't have as a big audience. Ponsuk Rinpoche in Mipa Rinpoche, I think in one of his teachings on Madhyamika, he also mentioned about the numbers of the audience were smaller. Nowadays, if people have certain methods to listen to the teachings online, I think that's fine. So now let's get to the teaching of the Sutra of Great Liberation. In the previous class, I quoted from Sutra of Removing Obstructions and Eliminating Negative Karmas, where it says that one who receives and upholds names of Buddhas will get away from the karmas which lead to birth and death in numerous kalpas and will quickly attain Buddhahood. I'm not sure if you still remember this quote. In fact, in this quote, it says that it states the great merits of reciting the names of the Buddhas. I think nowadays people only recite the names of Akshobhya or Medicine Buddha or Amitabha, and it is really the first time people heard of so many names of the Buddhas. And maybe for that reason, you would have a doubt, some doubts about why so many names of the Buddhas. If you have such doubts, I think it is because you don't really have a deep understanding of the sutras of Buddhism in general. If you understand, or if you have studied Buddhism cosmology, or if you studied in great depth of the foundations of Buddhism, you would understand about the innumerable worlds and innumerable Buddhas. And understanding such, it would benefit you, because the Buddhas are of the most supreme. Usually we would talk about how to chant the names of the 8 great bodhisattvas and Buddhas such as Amitabha. In fact, to attain such kind of enlightenment, to receive such kind of bhumis of all the great 8 bodhisattvas and Amitabha Buddha's enlightenment, it's very rare and hard to reach. But upon hearing so many names of the Buddhas, many people would probably would generate more confidence to attain the level of understanding of the level of enlightenment of the Buddhas. Just as if you understand that there's only very limited positions for employment, you would feel that you're hopeless. But if you see more positions for employment, then you would probably feel more hopeful to get those positions. Similarly, if you understand that there are so many Buddhas out there, then you would generate more confidence to attain liberation and Buddhahood. People would use the metaphor such as how the flower would only blossom and wither in a very quick period of time. But there's also the aspect where there are in fact many Buddhas and would abide in the 3 times. I think people should really read and study extensively so that you will develop certain understandings. You develop more understandings in the studies of Buddhism. If you only understand it in a very superficial way, then it will be difficult for you to fathom the immeasurable wisdom of the Dharma. Therefore, study and contemplating extensively is quite crucial. So let's continue with the names of the Buddhas. Previously, we've already talked about the Bodhi Flower Buddha. We're studying the Buddhas of the past. In terms of the names that's listed over here, a group of them are listed in the Lotus Sutra, and now we're studying the groups of the names of the Buddhas from the Infinite Life Sutra. And in terms of the Infinite Life Sutra, there are different translations. There's one Bodhicitta translation. The other day we studied that all the way from the Light of Certainty Buddha and all the way to here, there were about 44 Buddha's names that's translated in Bodhicitta's version, and 54 Buddha's names were translated in Kang's translation, another Chinese translator's translation. So I really hope that if you have time, you can compare the two versions. The version, the names according to the Infinite Life Sutra, not all of the names are followed by the word Buddha in that version. Some of them do have the word Buddha after, some of them don't. Anyhow, a great part of the names of the Buddhas are included in the Infinite Life Sutra as well. The translations are similar, and some of them are different, but mostly are similar. It's very difficult for me to explain the Buddha's names or expand on the names of the Buddhas. I think for those of you who don't really understand the innumerable Buddhas or don't really understand the names of the Buddhas, you might generate wrong views. Anyhow, the reason I am expanding on the names of the Buddhas is because I really hope that everyone could generate more of an expansive view of the Dharma. And that is why I compared it to lots of different sutras. I made lots of comparisons, and I would mention about the comparisons of the names. And the reason I bring it up is because I really think that we should do more research on the names of the Buddhas, because lots of the names do appear in various sutras. If you were to only chant it, it's not going to be very difficult because we can all chant it. And if you were to see different names for the same Buddha, I think we can just understand it in a way that how worldly people also have different names. You may have a Dharma name, you may have a nickname, even a guru may have one name. I myself have Sonam Darji, and sometimes people would call me Sodargye. Sometimes people would call me Jidarso. Whenever I go to different schools, and when people don't really know me well, and there are people who would pronounce or read my name wrong and would call me Jidarso, Jisodar. And whenever they call me Jidarso, I would respond to that name as well. Once I went to a school, and a female professor who looked at me and hesitantly said that our Sangha Master Jidarso is here. And when she looked at me, I nodded. Sometimes I would also think to myself, while I myself don't have that great wisdom or compassion, then the Buddhas, if I can understand when people calling me by the wrong name, then the Buddhas definitely would understand. Last time, I think I mispronounced one name, but I think the Buddha would definitely show his understanding and inclusiveness and not going to be upset about me pronouncing his name wrong. So let's continue with the names of the Buddha. It says that the next name is homage to the bright moon Buddha. According to a sutra, it says that the bright moon Buddha, at his Pure Land, there were a group of bodhisattvas who wanted to visit the Saha world. And then the bright moon Buddha warned them, saying that, well, the Saha world is not pure and it is rather quite filthy. However, once you get there, you should not generate the mind of viewing them as inferior, because if you were to practice even momentarily at the Saha world, the merit is quite great. And according to other sutras, it says that the bright moon Buddha generated aspiration to create a pure mind, a pure land. When he first generated the mind of bodhicitta, he also made the aspiration to liberate sentient beings who have lots of defilement. He's definitely a great Buddha as well. Of course, all Buddhas are great, but there are Buddhas who made different aspirations. The next one is homage to Sunbeam Buddha, homage to King of Flower Color Buddha, homage to Water Moon Light Buddha, homage to Dispel of Darkness of Doubts Buddha. Another translation says Dispeller of Darkness of Ignorance Buddha, and homage to Liberation of Suffering Buddha, homage to Pure Faith Buddha, homage to Virtuous Lives Buddha. Over here, the Chinese character is the same as the previous one. However, the pronunciation and meanings are different. Previously, the same character means stars, and over here it means virtuous lives, lifetimes. It means virtuous lifetimes rather than there are beings who live in our world who don't really have virtuous lifetimes or past lives. The next one is homage to Blessing Power Buddha, homage to Dharma Wisdom Buddha, the Buddha who possessed the transcendental wisdom of the Dharma. And next one is homage to Phoenix Sound Buddha, but the meaning means joyful voice, because the phoenix sounds really joyful and really beautiful, and the Tibetan translation is a joyful voice rather than phoenix sound. That is the literal translation of the Chinese over here. And homage to Lion's Roar Buddha, homage to Dragon Sound Buddha, homage to Shrava Buddha or the Autonomous Power Buddha. From here, prior to here, there were 54 Buddhas, all the way from the Light Certainty Buddha to here. The Shrava Buddha is in fact Shrava Raja, and this particular Buddha was back at the time when the Fazang Bhikshu was made the aspiration, 49 aspirations in front of Shrava Raja. And the Dharma Treasure Bhikshu, who made such aspirations, for lifetimes, and then all the way from the Light of Certainty Buddha to Shrava Buddha were included in the Infinite Life Sutra. The Infinite Life Sutra, according to the Dictionary of Buddhism in Chinese, Buddhism it says that there were 54 Buddhas included in there, and that's according to the translation of Kandingkai's translation, the Chinese translation, and there's another translation. But I'm sure if we were to use our pure mind and pure faith to chant the names of the Buddhas, the merits would be great. But even if you do not have a pure mind, pure faith, if you were to chant with distraction, the merit is also immeasurable. According to the common end of myriad good practices, it says that the merit one accumulates from recollecting the names of the Buddhas with even one distracted mind will not be exhausted until the end of his suffering. So that kind of merit would be inexhaustible. Therefore, whichever Buddha's name that you recite, it would be of great merit to you, great benefit to you. I know many people really likes to recite the names of the Buddha. You can chant the names of the Buddha, such as Amitabha, the medicine Buddha. You can chant the 88 Buddha's names to purify your past karmic seeds, or you can chant the 1,000 Buddha's names. There are many sutras that includes lots of the names of the Buddhas. According to the Pure Land teachings, you can chant the soul name of Amitabha, and then that's also really great. Sometimes I tell the disciples, I tell the students, sometimes I tell the Khenpos and Khenpos, I think it is really wonderful. It would be really wonderful if you were to be able to expound your Dharma that would fit into all sentient beings' understanding, because there are people who like to chant only one name of the Buddha, and there are people who like to chant all names of the Buddhas. There are people who have certain faith towards certain Buddhas, and there are people who have the great faith towards all Buddhas. So you should really encourage everyone to chant the Buddha's names according to their capacity. In my 30 years of teaching, I myself have upheld the inclusiveness in my teachings. I would advocate for people who, I would advocate chanting the names of Amitabha Buddha for people who only likes to chant the name of Amitabha, and I would advocate people who to chant the thousands of names of the Buddhas if they have developed the pure faith towards all the Buddhas. So I'm quite inclusive, and I don't really have a certain bias towards any kinds of practices. Unlike people who have only certain taste, they like sour, they like spicy. I have never really given people a teaching saying that you should only practice this or you should only practice that. I do not insist on one taste is better than the other tastes. Unlike the others who only would emphasize that, oh, you should eat this, you should only eat that, because there are people who don't like sour or they don't like spicy. So you can't really force others to like this or that. If you were to force others to eat spicy when they don't like, they would pretend to be like, oh, this is yummy. But in their mind, they would say that, this is terrible. I think a group of people who have lots of the Dharma teachers who have power, who have disciples, I really think you should propagate their Dharma with a sense of inclusiveness, because all sentient beings' capacities are different. As a great teacher, teacher, you should try to accommodate sentient beings with different capacities. It is difficult for us to accommodate all, but we should at least strive to do so. Not all people would like certain types of practice, but you should be able to use various ways to tame them. You should use various ways to encourage them to practice on the path of the Dharma. You should accommodate their different likings, such as there are people who like sweets and the ones who don't. We should try to develop a sense of understanding to the others. Not only understanding of the other's history, the other's habitual patterns, the other's values, and as well as the other's practice and their capacities.
就刚才讲到，就是无量寿经里面就是讲的这个54佛啊。
So we've already covered the 54 Buddhas according to the Infinite Life Sutra. So the last one would be homage to Infinite Life Buddha. The next one is Infinite Life Buddha, and then after the Infinite Life Buddha, there are the 12 Buddhas whose name also all ended with lights. One explanation is that the 12 Buddhas' names ends with lights, shows 12 kinds of merits of Infinite Life Buddha. And another way of understanding it is the 12 Buddhas of the past. You can understand it as different manifestations of the Buddhas, of the Infinite Life Buddha, or you can understand it as different manifestations or different Buddhas. You can understand it as the 12 light Buddhas of Infinite Life Buddha, because there are different manifestations or different aspects of the Infinite Life Buddha. So the next one says that it is next one says homage to Infinite Light Buddha, infinite or boundless light Buddha, unobstructed light Buddha, non-comparable light Buddha, King of Flaming Light Buddha. In terms of King of Flaming Light Buddha, according to the Tibetan version, sometimes it is said light of a flame, King Buddha. Sometimes it is translated as King of Light of Flame Buddha. So the words, the order of the words over here might be a little bit different. Some sutras included the name, some Chinese translation of this Buddha's name is the same as stated over here, King of Flaming Light Buddha. The next one is Flaming Light Buddha and Burning Root Buddha. These two are the same as the ones that's included previously, because it's repeated over here as this is included in the Tibetan version in this order. So that's why it's repeated. In order to make this sutra more complete, that's what the editor did over here, at least according to this version, but it's not necessarily you don't necessarily have to repeat this. And according to the Dunhuang version, they do have the two names of the Buddhas in the previous part, but not over here. Therefore, we will read or practice on this sutra according to the Dunhuang's version, so we don't have to use the repeated names over here. The next one, the sixth one, is homage to pure light Buddha. Seventh, homage to joyful light Buddha. Homage to wisdom light Buddha. Homage to uninterrupted light Buddha. Homage to inconceivable light Buddha. Homage to inexpressible light Buddha. So inexpressible, express, so it means that it's hard to utter the names. It's hard to utter. There's a connotation of speech over here. And then homage to unsurpassing sun and moonlight Buddha. So those were the 12 names of the Buddhas that ends with the word light. The next one goes homage to the purple, gold, and beautiful manifesting Buddha, and then homage to long illuminating Buddha. The next one, homage to treasure trove Buddha. According to the Agama Sutra, it includes the story of the previous life of Shakyamuni Buddha, who made aspiration in front of treasure trove Buddha. When Shakyamuni Buddha was a Brahma, he made the aspiration in front of this particular Buddha, the treasure trove Buddha. Some of the sutras described that if one were to hear the name of the treasure trove Buddha, one would be able to attain lots of clairvoyance, such as clairvoyance of understanding past lives. The next one is homage to immeasurable sound Buddha. That's a Buddha who resides at the south. If one were to hear the name of immeasurable sound Buddha's name, your faith would not retrogress. I think it's quite important to maintain your faith, to maintain the faith towards the Buddha, towards the teachers and the Dharma. It is quite important. Otherwise, sometimes you may feel that, I have great faith in the Three Jewels, I have great faith towards the Lama, and then after a little while you feel that your faith are completely gone, and then you may get quite disappointed. Unless we attain the level of non-retrogress on the path, it is very difficult for us to not regress. Sometimes we would generate a great faith when the weather is great, when you eat great, when your health is great, and then you would generate great faith. And you feel that the Dharma is bright, is without extremes, it is without any contrived ideas, conceptions, and it's so wonderful. And you will contemplate, and you would even describe your own insights in great and wonderful words. But whenever you lost your faith, the emotions and your descriptions are completely different. You would say that I'm simply a mundane being. I have lots of the greed and anger and ignorance. I'm full of those. I think it would be really the best if you can maintain a certain sense of equanimity in your levels of understanding instead of having lots of ups and downs of faith. And that's why you should chant the name of immeasurable sound Buddha. Homage to nectar taste Buddha, homage to Naga victory Buddha, homage to supreme power Buddha, homage to light sound Buddha, homage to light of relinquishing defilement Buddha, and all the way from here to the Shravaraja Buddha. It is included in the chanting the names of the Buddha Sutra. the name of this Buddha was included, or the story of light of in relinquishing defilement Buddha is included in the White Lotus biography of the White Lotus. There's a story where it says that there was once a prince, his name's Yetsen, and this prince, in fact, had generated lots of merit in his past life and made great connection to the Dharma. But in this lifetime, in that lifetime, he was distracted by power and wealth and the palace. And then he was living at the time of this particular Buddha, light of relinquishing defilement Buddha. So this Buddha asked the fellow bodhisattvas who followed him, and out of all the bodhisattvas, there was one bodhisattva whose name was Wonderful Diligence Bodhisattva, who said that I will go and lead Prince to back onto the path of the Dharma. And then the Buddha warned him, saying that, well, it's going to take a long period of time. That is going to take you 84,000 years, 84,000 lifetimes to bring him back to the path of the Dharma. And then this wonderful diligence bodhisattva made the vow and diligently, with various skillful ways, worked through 84,000 lifetimes and finally brought back the prince to the Buddha. After 84,000 lifetimes of taming the prince's mind had already been much more malleable, and he was able to listen to the teachings given by light of relinquishing defilement Buddha, and was finally able to attain supreme fruition. And this particular prince is Maitreya Buddha, and the bodhisattva of wonderful diligence is Shakyamuni Buddha. So that's the story behind Shakyamuni Buddha and Maitreya. So we can see being a bodhisattva, while being a bodhisattva in the previous lifetime, Shakyamuni Buddha, that's the Shakyamuni Buddha's previous life as the bodhisattva. He used lots of diligence and lots of patience in order to liberate one prince whom had became Maitreya. Look at beings around us. Are we going to have such diligence and patience to liberate them? There are beings who we really want to liberate, our family members and friends. We feel quite discouraged by not able to lead them onto the path of the Dharma. But we haven't used 84,000 lifetimes yet. Sometimes we feel that we only need to repeat 1 or 2 times. In fact, 1 or 2 times is definitely not enough. Let's look at how Bodhisattva Wonderful Diligence did just to liberate one prince at that time. Lots of the very touching stories talked about how bodhisattvas do not have any mind of irritation or impatience when they liberate a sentient being. But look at us. We get so impatient when other people does any kind of things to irritate us. And when they irritate us, we would give up on them right away. And sometimes we would give up on others, up on getting in touch with them for a year or two, or trying to help them for a year or two. Next one, homage to Crown of Virtue Buddha, homage to Wondrous Virtue Mountain Buddha, homage to King of Men Buddha, homage to Vajraraja Buddha. And Vajraraja Buddha is included in the Tibetan version, but not in the Dunhuang version. In fact, if it's included in the Tibetan version, I think if it is included in the Tibetan version, but not included in the Dunhuang version, I think we should add them back into that version, because lots of the Dunhuang version is not complete. And sometimes Dunhuang would have different versions or different copies that's included in various museums, such as Great Britain Museum and other different museums around the world. And many of the versions included in different museums are not complete. Trusum Ditsen, at his time, along with Ishide and lots of the great translators, they had to go through many strict process to translate. At that time, on the land of Tibet, there was no big destruction of Buddhism. It is only during the later part there was lots of obstacles. But at the beginning part of the propagation of the Dharma, there were lots of great translators. So the Tibetan version, when we look at it, I think if the translations that's included in the Chinese version or the Dunhuang version is incomplete, I think we should compare it with the Tibetan version, the Tibetan translations, because the translators at that time went through lots of the strict process, and they had to go through the translations for many times. It is rather unreasonable to have doubts of the Tibetan translations. But I think what happens now is that lots of the editors of the Chinese Tripitaka are only included, or are only scholars, and therefore they only included the Chinese version, and they used the scholarly knowledge to edit the Tripitaka, or to include the Tripitakas into large volumes. And in this way, I think if we were to only use the scholarly knowledge to compile the Tripitakas together, it is really unreasonable. It is not grounded. So when we look at the Beijing version or the Dugger version and Lhasa version, we should not give them names such as the compiled version or the translated version. or edited version rather, if you were to put the edited version in front of the Tibetan versions, I think it's going to create further problems in later ages, in the future. And according to Master Jizang's commentary, he said that the last Buddha of all the past Buddhas was the Vajraraja Buddha. Next Buddha's name is a homage to Supreme Flower Buddha, and next one is a homage to all-in power, in fact, or fearless power. Over here, the Chinese translation probably lost one word, that is less. It is not fearful power, it is of fearless power. The next one is homage to Nagashrava Buddha. This Buddha was included in the cause and condition of the Buddhas of good kalpas. And the story goes that there was once a bhikshu whose name is the adornment, the wonderful adornment of Naga Bhikshu, and at that time he was with he saw 1,000 Brahmins, and at that time the Bhikshu started giving teachings of the non-appearance and emptiness to the 1,000 Brahmas. And then the 1,000 Brahmas thought, well, the bhikshu's teachings definitely makes lots of sense. And then they started asking where he received the teachings. And then bhikshu said that this is the teaching of the Buddha. And the 1,000 Brahmins then took refuge. And that 1,000 Brahmins became the 1,000 Buddhas of the good kalpa. The bhikshu later became the Shravaraja Buddha. That's the connection of the Shravaraja Buddha to the 1,000 Buddhas of the good kalpa.
然后那么呢就是四字为广王佛啊，就是那个四字为广王佛的话那就是
homage to homage to lion's support King Buddha, homage to lion's powerful light Buddha.
还有一个经叫做是这个遥望遥上那个经嘛，就是那个经当中的话那就是
according to the Sutra of Vaisajja Vaisajja Samugata.
然后南无就是自在王佛啊，就是南无自在王佛。
the two names are actually refers to one Buddha. And then next one is homage to Shravaraja Buddha. 在其他经当中只是出现的。 These names usually appears in the names of the Buddhas and Infinite Life Sutra. And from here onwards, these names are included in the 53 Buddha, chanting the names of 53 Buddhas confession liturgy. That is more popular in the mainland.
有这样的这个说法，就是有那个现界千佛和过去现界千佛和现在现界千佛，还有这个未来现界千佛的话呢，就是都是通过这个53佛的
3,000 Buddhas, the 1,000 of the 1,000 Buddhas of the past, and 1,000 Buddhas of the present, and 1,000 Buddhas of the future. All of those names. All of those 3,000 Buddhas, upon hearing the names of the 53 Buddhas that's listed over here, in fact, led them to attain Buddhahood. So the 53 names of the Buddhas listed, the 53 Buddhas
先界千佛呢，就是有一定的这种关系啊，就是有些
they are closely related, or they made close connections to the 1,000 Buddhas of Gudakapa as well.
这个佛就是最后的只倒数我们这个过去佛当中的倒数
all the way from here
到这个
to
现在这个普光佛道就是倒数第二个
the
佛
second last that is stated over
就是应该
here.
不止53个佛，就是但是53个佛
In fact, there are more than 53
Buddhas
Buddhas that's listed here. There were about 9 or 10 names that's added on top of it. So the names that's stated here, I really hope that you can chant them more often. Some of them are included in the 53 Buddha's names, and some of them are not. So next one is homage to the all-pervasive light Buddha, homage to the Khandana fragrance Buddha, and this one is not included in the Tibetan version. And next one is homage to the Tamalapatra Khandana fragrance Buddha. And over here there's a repeat name of the light of Khandana fragrance again, but we don't need that because it's repeated. The next one is homage to the joyous treasure heap of jewels Buddha. This is also a different name of the previous life of Manjushri Bodhisattva. Homage to the Muni Bearer Banner Buddha. Again, this is a repeated name with a later one. Homage to the Supreme Diligence Buddha. According to the Medicine Buddha Sutra, it says that there is a name of the all-seeing Supreme Diligence Buddha. So it's very similar to this name as well. And homage to all-pervading purity Buddha. According to the 53 names sutra, or another sutra where the names a little bit different. It says all-pervading faith Buddha rather than purity, so the Chinese character is a bit different. And the next one is homage to Muni Barrier Banner Buddha. Again, you can see that these two are repeated, and then you should only keep only one. There are people who, when piling up the different versions, they didn't want to change any orders, therefore they added the names of the Buddha. When we look at the Sutra of the names of the Buddha and the 53 names of the Buddha to practice on the repentance, all of those names in fact only appear, the names of the Buddha only appear once, therefore we can make a version that doesn't have those repeated names, and this would be more trustworthy, I think. Because we definitely need one version that we can trust and we can practice upon. And then homage to the Muni Bearer Light Buddha, and homage to the Wisdom Torch Illuminating Buddha, homage to Ocean Virtuous Light Buddha, homage to the Vajra-like Sturdy Buddha. And according to another version, it is connected to the next Buddha's name. According to the 53 Buddha's names sutra, this name is connected to the next one. It's a Vajra-like sturdy bestowing golden light Buddha. But over here it's divided. It says that homage to the Vajra-like sturdy Buddha, and then homage to bestowing golden light Buddha. Next one is a homage to steadfast diligence Buddha. I think it's necessary to understand this because because we should chant different names according to the different sutras. We should chant the 53 Buddha's names to confess according to the names listed there, and we should chant the names in the Sutra of Great Liberation according to the Sutra of Great Liberation. And the next one is homage to steadfast and diligence Buddha, homage to the brave power Buddha, homage to great compassionate light Buddha, homage to kindness power Buddha, homage to kindness treasure Buddha, homage to Kandana cave adornment victory Buddha, homage to supreme virtue crown Buddha, homage to good awakening Buddha. Over here, the word awakening could be mind or could be awakening. Homage to adorning light Buddha, homage to gold mountain jewel canopy Buddha. This one and the next two were not included in the 53 Buddhas that we talked about. And then homage to gold flower, flaming light form Buddha, homage to great torch light Buddha, homage to canopy illuminating space power of mastery Buddha. Homage to golden flower light, homage to precious flower light in space Buddha, homage to crystal adornment King Buddha, homage to all manifesting from light Buddha. Homage to immovable light. Over here, the Tibetan version is immovable wisdom light Buddha. Homage to subduing all Mara King Buddha. Homage to thousand light Buddha. The 53 Buddha's names actually states thousand bright light Buddha. Or homage to bright, colorful light Buddha. That's the name included in the 53 Buddha's names. Homage to compassion and wisdom victory light. Homage to Maitreya bright light Buddha. In the 53 names of the Buddhas over here, the bright, the word bright or the character bright is actually sage, the word for sage, so it's a little bit different than that one again. Homage to world pure light Buddha, and in the 53 Buddha's names it is homage to the world peaceful light rather than pure. It's a bit different again. Homage to virtuous, peaceful moon sound Buddha. Homage to wondrous, venerable wisdom King Buddha. Homage to canopy light Buddha. Homage to King of most venerate Naga Buddha. Again, that's another name for the previous life of Manjushri Bodhisattva. Homage to Sun and Moonlight Buddha, homage to Sun and Moon Pearl Light Buddha, homage to Wisdom Banner Victory Adornment King Buddha. The next one is homage to Undefiled Treasure Buddha, and in the Tibetan version there's a word king behind. It says Undefiled Treasure Buddha, Undefiled Treasure King Buddha. After comparison, I made these discoveries, and I'm only making side notes with you guys. I think it is better for you to know a little bit as well. So where am I right now? The next one is homage to bright form Buddha, homage to golden flaming light Buddha, homage to golden flaming light treasure Buddha. The undefiled treasure king, the undefiled treasure Buddha, and this golden flaming light treasure Buddha are not included in the 53 Buddhas. Homage to King of Lions Roar, Sovereign Power Buddha, homage to Wonderful Voice Victory Buddha, Victory King Buddha, homage to Eternal Light Pennant Buddha, homage to Eternal Light Banner Buddha. The two are very similar, and the Tibetan version only has one. You can, in fact, the pennant and the banner, they're the same thing. It's just the characters different, so you can probably keep only one. The next one is a homage to Observing One World Lamp King Buddha, homage to Wisdom Support Lamp King Buddha, homage to Dharma Eternal Victory King Buddha, homage to Sumeru Light Buddha, homage to Sumeru Flower Light Buddha, homage to Udambara Flower Light Buddha, homage to Powerful Victory King Buddha, homage to Wisdom Power King Buddha, homage to Akshobhya Joyful Light Buddha, homage to Immeasurable Sound King Buddha, homage to Light of Eloquence Buddha. Over here it could mean eloquence or wisdom. Homage to Gold Sea Light Buddha, homage to Wisdom of Mountain Autonomous Power King Buddha, homage to Great Penetration of Light Buddha, homage to Great Liberation Light Buddha. The Great Penetration Light Buddha and the Great Liberation Light Buddha, they're similar. So again, there's only one of the similar translations in Tibetan version. Next one, homage to the fulfillment of all Dharma King Buddha. All of those above included the Buddha's names that is included in the Confession Liturgy of 53 Buddha's names. And the next one is homage to the manifestation of non-ignorance Buddha, and this one is included in the Confession Liturgy of 35 Buddha's names. Homage to all the immeasurable manifestations of the past, of the Buddhas of the past, and homage to all the past Buddhas, the past of 1 Buddha, 10 Buddha, 100 Buddha, 1,000 Buddha, tens of thousands of Buddhas. And by paying homage, one can eliminate the severe negative karma of birth and death. Homage to tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, tens of hundreds of thousands, Nayuta numbers of immeasurable Buddhas. The Chinese translation over here used the word 10 billion, 100 million, rather than the word 100,000 that is used in the Tibetan version. Sometimes I would compare different sutras in the two different languages, and I noticed that the Tibetan version usually would translate the number 100,000 as 10,000. I think it could be because of the translation rule that's made in the previous propagation, in the first propagation of the Dharma in the Tibet, because of the great translators would make different rules of translation, different rules of translating in certain ways. So the words are translated in this way. Now, when we think about the tens of hundreds of thousands and even billions and tens of hundreds of billions of Nayuta numbers of immeasurable Buddhas, it is definitely difficult for us to fathom such great number. If one were to hear the names of the immeasurable Asamkhya's Buddha's names for this kind of people who hear these names, they will not be reborn or suffer in hell realm for 800,000 kalpas. So upon hearing the names, we will not be reborn in hell realm. And that's the reason why we should prostrate and show our reverence to the names of the Buddhas. If one were to prostrate, if one were to revere the past Buddhas, one will definitely be able to purify the defilement of their mind and not to commit to any of the 10 or 5 vicious deeds. One will often hear the teachings of the correct Dharma and would be able to perfect their Mahayana precepts. And therefore, we should prostrate and venerate the Buddha's names. Nowadays, I think our world is definitely it's waning in many ways, and that is the best time to receive the blessings of the Buddhas. If we have lots of afflictions and when we have lots of obstacles, I think it's very difficult to live in this kind of world with lots of obstacles without faith. When we look at beings around us, especially nowadays, when we look at the beings who's suffering with poverty, with lots of difficulties and lots of obstacles, even by looking at their pictures, you would feel heartbroken. Look at the beings look at people who live in areas such as in Africa and in lots of places. Let's look at some of the pictures. Recently, some reports from the UN or from other sources, they predict that in 2021, more disease or the pandemic will get even worse. About 176 million people would suffer from poverty. Over 176 million people would live with a daily spending on an average of $3.2 US. The Bill Gates Foundation also released a number saying that now, this year, about 370 million of people live with only live with only about over $1 of spending per day. Some of the resources and some of the numbers and reports says that the 25 years of progress or the 25 years of development are completely wiped out in 25 weeks because of the pandemic. It has set the world back all the way to the end of the 90s. The development of vaccination still would not be able to reach to everywhere of the world. According to the research, it says that all the way from the year 2018 to this year, about 500,000 people died from HIV. On top of that, more and more people get mental illness as well, especially people live in poverty. Their hygiene, their mental health all encounter great challenges. We live in such an era of imbalance. Different countries across the globe, they are all preparing to wage war on each other. They prepare different weapons. They prepare to engage in warfare with each other. The pandemic brought such great changes to this world and to everyone, and to everyone's family life as well. Lots of people lost their family or get ill, and in terms of the geopolitical scene, we can see that lots of countries are in a quite a turbulent state as well. And living in this era, if we don't have faith, it will be very difficult, very challenging for us to lead our life. So this year we probably developed lots of insights because of the difficulties. What we should do is that on one hand we should supplicate to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas so that we can receive their blessings, and on the other we should practice and dedicate the merit to everyone. And then next one, it says that if one were to prostrate and one were to if one were to practice in such a way, they would purify the defilement of their mind. They will not commit to any devious deeds, including the 5 inexpiable deeds, and they would listen to the correct Dharma. They would be able to perfect their Mahayana precepts and attain enlightenment. So that's the kinds of merit one can receive. The exceptions of 2 types of people. One is that if one had slandered the Mahayana Dharma previously, or if they are echantikas. Echantikas, the non-believers, or the ones who eradicated all their virtuous deeds according to the Mahaparinirvana Sutra. So, one type of the echantika is that they slandered the Dharma without confess. The second one is they violated four types of violated the four types of have the four violations and then without a confession. The teaching from the Buddha to Khenpo, and he explained that this is what Ichantika is. The people who have vicious actions without making confession, those can be called Ichantika if we're being very strict with the meaning of Ichantika. So the ones who kept on going with their vicious actions without confession. But other than those two types of people, the ones who slandered the Dharma and the Ichantikas, if one were to develop pure faith, they're not Ichantikas anymore. They will be able to see the immeasurable Buddhas. And for such a reason, one should venerate the Buddhas. If one were to create lots of great negative deeds, including the 5 inexpiables, if they can recover, if they can confess, and then they will be able to recover their pure faith. They shall abide in such a proper way according to the Dharma, and for such a reason, they should also venerate to the Buddhas to relinquish the 5 devious deeds and receive the precepts of the Mahayana, and for such a reason one should venerate. Upon seeing the names of the past Buddhas, 10,000 bodhisattvas attained forbearance of non-arising, 800 Shravakas received or generated Mahayana Bodhi mind, and 5,000 bhikshus attained arhathood, and 1,000 celestial beings attained the pure Dharma eye. Therefore, we can see that the merits of chanting the names of the Buddhas are extremely immeasurable, so we should definitely chant this sutra. We should stop here today.
Chibum